Welcome to This Week from Blue Mountain Broadcasting. I'm Lynelle Ellis, your host, and very glad that you tuned in to the show today. You are in for a treat when we have our interview segment of the program because I'm going to be interviewing two gentlemen from the Quest program. This happens at Walla Walla Community College, and it's for learners, 50-plus learners. And so I'm going to be talking with Dan Grinstead and Douglas Carson from the Quest program. So you will definitely want to stay tuned for that. And also for our station news segment at the end of the program, where I'm going to highlight one of the programs you won't want to miss on Blue Mountain Television. Let's begin now with our devotional thought. Yesterday, I was reading about Jesus' transfiguration on the Mount. And then right after that comes the very interesting story of an event that happened as he came down from the mountain. And actually my favorite telling of this event right after the transfiguration comes out of the book of Mark, and it's found in Mark chapter 9. So let's start by reading together this incident that happens right after Jesus is transfigured. And then we're going to look into some interesting things from that story. So let's go to Mark chapter 9, starting with verse 14, and we'll go through verse 29. And when they came to the disciples, let me pause by saying the they here is Jesus and Peter, James, and John, who have been the ones on the Mount of Transfiguration. All right. And when they came to the disciples, they saw a great crowd around them, and scribes arguing with them. And immediately all the crowd, when they saw him, were greatly amazed and ran up to him and greeted him. And he asked them, "What are you arguing about with them?" And someone from the crowd answered him, "Teacher, I brought my son to you, for he has a spirit that makes him mute. And whenever it seizes him, it throws him down, and he foams and grinds his teeth and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to cast it out, and they were not able." And he answered them, "O faithless generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him to me." And they brought the boy to him, and when the spirit saw him, immediately it convulsed the boy, and he fell on the ground and rolled about, foaming at the mouth. And Jesus asked his father, "How long has this been happening to him?" And he said, "From childhood. And it has often cast him into the fire and into water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." And Jesus said to him, "If you can, all things are possible for one who believes." Immediately the father of the child cried out and said, "I believe, help my unbelief." And when Jesus saw that a crowd came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, "You mute and deaf spirit, I command you, come out of him and never enter him again." And after crying out and convulsing him terribly, it came out, and the boy was like a corpse, so that most of them said, "He is dead." But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he had entered the house, his disciples asked him privately, "Why could we not cast it out?" And he said to them, "This kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer." So first of all, as we look back on this story, why couldn't the disciples cast out the mute and deaf spirit? They had done miracles before that had already been recorded in the Bible from when Jesus sent them out. Why was it different this time? Perhaps it was the arguing that they had been doing. They were not in the best frame of mind or heart. Could it be that when we want to do something for God and for His kingdom, that we need to set arguing and bickering aside? We have to open our hearts to His Spirit of peace. And another interesting element of this story is the Father's interaction with Jesus. The Father says to Jesus, If you can do anything, have compassion on us. Did the Father doubt because the disciples had already tried to cast out the spirit and nothing had happened? Or did he doubt because he just wasn't sure that Jesus could do it? And Jesus responds to him emphatically, if you can. All things are possible for one who believes. It's actually quite a rebuke. In fact, I think the Father sees his chance for his son to be healed vanishing right in front of him, and he quickly blurts out, I believe. Help my unbelief. He has some faith, just not enough. And he recognizes that it isn't enough and that he needs help. And I find this actually so encouraging. This is really one of my favorite passages and favorite stories in all of the New Testament. Because there are many times when I feel like I don't have enough faith. And it's wonderful to know that I can just ask for it. I can be honest with God. I can say to him, I believe, but I know it's not enough. Help the part of me that doesn't believe. Help my unbelief. My faith is insufficient. I'm insufficient. But I can ask for more faith, and it will be given. Well, Jesus heals the boy. The story has a happy ending. But it does leave the disciples wondering about something. Why couldn't we cast it out? They ask. Good question. And Jesus' answer is very simple. This kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer. It takes prayer. What do you have in your life that needs to be driven out? What do I have in my life that needs to be driven out? To be fixed, to be healed. Whatever it is, it takes prayer. Going to God with our problems and our challenges is the only thing we can do. We must take everything to God in prayer. The persistent issues of our lives can only be driven out through prayer. So I think we can sum it up this way as we look back on this story today. Don't argue. Focus on God and his kingdom instead. Have faith. And if you don't have enough, ask for more. And pray. Pray like our lives depend on it. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining me now are Dan Grinstead and Douglas Carson from the Walla Walla Community College Quest program. And I'm just excited to learn a lot more about this program. What is it, first of all? What's Quest?
Quest is a educational program for people over the age of 50 for non-credit classes of general interest, and it was started back in 1998, and so we're into our 26th year.
Very good. It's had some longevity. That must mean that people enjoy it. There's a need for it. And you're on the advisory group. What's the official name for it?
The steering committee.
Steering committee. Yes. So each of you are on the steering committee for Quest, helping to decide what kind of classes get offered.
We look for teachers to teach particular courses in areas of interest and expertise. It varies quite widely in terms of the courses that are offered, from cooking to yoga to literature to film. It just spans a great range of classes based on the particular professor's interest in teaching that course.
So some of these classes would be more academic in nature, even though they're not for credit, and others would be more practical.
More how-to
activities.
types of things, from sewing or knitting, or how to take cell phone pictures, or how to properly pack your backpack.
Yeah.
There's also a number of courses where they go out into the field for bird watching, geological studies, just going out and finding out about the valley and the area around us.
So
Excellent.
if people want to participate in these classes, do they become a member? Is it a membership-based sort of thing?
We have a membership into the Quest program, either for a particular quarter or for the year. We don't do summer quarters, we just do 3 quarters per year. And then there are fees for each individual class, and that's prorated according to the length of the class and the technical components or anything. And we do have scholarships available for folks who are interested but feel like they can't afford it.
Sure. Are you free to say kind of what the range of the cost might be?
Oh, it varies. And sometimes the course requires, like some of the cooking courses require materials
Yes.
and art classes. So those would bump up, but
Like
And
lab fees would be at a
Lab
class.
Exactly.
fees,
Yeah.
the literature classes would require renting or checking out of the library books pertinent to that particular subject, whether it be the plays of an author or something like that. And so some classes may be $40, some might be $75,
Yes.
depending on the length and how much materials are involved.
So typically, how many people would participate in each class? You know, what kind of participation do we have in our community? Are these small class sizes, large?
the class sizes are determined by the instructor.
Okay,
And they determine how many they feel
would be enough.
would be enough. Yeah, sometimes you can get overwhelmed. If it was just a lecture class, that might allow more people to be involved than if it's a hands-on class.
Sure.
So
I'm taking a class where we watch movies and discuss them. There are 30 people.
Okay.
I'm taking a class studying a particular author, and I think there are 8 or 9
In that
people
class.
in that
Okay.
class.
So that's kind of a range.
right.
And so it depends on the subject and the level of interest in the public.
And about how many courses are happening in the Quest program each quarter?
In the winter quarter just finished, we had, I think, 180 participants, community people who took classes, often multiple classes. In the spring quarter coming up, we have 18 classes offered and for Quest, and there are also classes under the community education program that are available.
So this is significant. That's what I'm learning by asking these questions of you. There's a significant number of people in our community who are participating in these courses
Yes.
each year.
And some of them every quarter.
The
courses.
the lifelong learner people.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Who really want to keep themselves engaged and active, and just because they're long past the required schooling of of life.
Yeah.
Many people taking these classes will take notes to remember to refer to later, and it's been a lot of fun to learn so many different types of activities through these classes. I've been taking classes there, I think, 10 or 12 years.
Well, I actually would qualify. I have to confess, I could come to one of these classes. I'm old enough, so all I need now is a little time, because I'm a professor, so I'm so busy teaching other classes.
Right. Yeah, and this is all through the community college.
Yes.
And so it'd be like any other course that you would take, except there's no tests. The homework might be reading or watching something online
Yes.
in preparation, but it's really a very low threshold to involve yourself.
Yeah.
And I would say most of the classes are afternoon or late afternoon into the early evening. So it does allow for some choice as to how to fit it into busy schedules.
Sure. So late afternoon, early evening for the most part. That does work really well, especially for retired, but also there might be some opportunities for people who are still working to get in on some of them.
I think it works out well. And most classes, it's unusual for a class to be full where nobody else can get in.
Okay.
Most instructors are open to adding an extra person or two.
And it sounds like the options for classes change and evolve as various people are in the community who have the skills, who want to teach a class about a particular topic. So there's a lot of flexibility there.
And part of the role of the steering committee is to locate those people who aren't teaching but might have something they would like to teach.
Yes.
And so we're always on the lookout for people who have ideas about something they would like to do, to teach. And if anybody has that, we would certainly love to hear from them.
And the Quest office is at the community college, and we're in the website for the community college, and
So it's easy to find that way straight through
is.
the community college's website.
Yes.
Okay. Looking for the Quest program. So what are some of the goals from the steering committee's perspective? You know, when you just kind of think overall, why are we doing this? You know, what's behind that?
Well, I think a lot of it is that those of us on the steering committee are interested in continuing education and lifelong learning. And so one of the major goals is to provide the opportunities for that community of people to engage in thinking and conversation about some topic, and trying to ensure that people can indeed find a way to continue learning.
Yeah, it's so much more fun than just sitting at home with your TV on or something like that. isn't
definitely.
it?
And we
I know
have,
I'm working at a television station here, but
we have found that the community college is really supportive of the Quest program and feels that it's important to keep the community involved
yes.
as a whole, and with offerings from the community college, and it's worked well.
Good partnership, it sounds like, for
I
sure.
think so.
Yeah. So how do people actually sign up for a class then? Do they go to the website?
You can. Prior to the opening of a quarter, and it's based on the community college time frame schedule, we have a social where the various instructors that are going to teach will give a short presentation of what their class will be like.
Oh, that's fun.
And we offer lunch there at the community college. And the Quest Social for this spring quarter will be next week, March 15th.
Okay.
In the main building of the community college there at the cafe. It's catered, and there's no cost for that.
You just come and find
Just
out
come
about it?
and enjoy a meal and find out about the classes, and then you can sign up that day, or you can call or to sign up or online.
So this is really a community-oriented sort of program, dealing with local professors, things that we might be interested in here in our area. How does that really kind of benefit this region?
I think it helps community members to understand the area better, certainly to broaden their perspectives on many different topics they wouldn't normally have access to.
Like, are there classes you can take that get you out into our region?
There are classes where the professor takes you out into the field, geology, birding, just a general understanding of the valley and the region that we're in,
Yes.
and how it came to be, sometimes like with the geology.
Sure.
And the birds is a real popular one, because
Yeah.
I don't know, birding seems to be
It's
one
a
of
popular
those,
thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I have a brother-in-law who's really into it. So yes, so this is good. What a benefit for our area, especially for people who are 50 plus, who want to keep learning, want to keep finding out new and interesting things, like to socialize with other people who want to learn.
That's a big part of it, I think, is the socialization and sharing each other's expertise about something. There are great discussions about most of the classes within the class, and so we are always looking for more community members to come and take classes or to teach.
So everybody watching right now needs to remember March 15 at noon at the
At 1
community.
o'clock.
At 1 o'clock. I had the time wrong there. March 15 at 1 o'clock at the community college at the cafe
Yes.
to find out more about
Yeah.
this program.
Yeah.
Kind of start to experience it. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much, Dan and Douglas, for taking a few minutes to share with us about this really exciting program.
Happy to be here.
Our
Thank you, Lynelle.
pleasure.
And stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. It's time for Station News. And I want to give you an update about where we are. You know that most of us are over at the Wallula facility now, and we have moved our offices essentially there. So that's our current address. It's the place to come visit us. And I just wanted to let you know that you really can. You can come to Blue Mountains facility on Wallula Avenue and look at what's going on there. See the progress as we've been working a little bit on the studio area and a lot on the office area there. We now have regular office hours there. So Carmen Kearns, our administrative assistant, is there in the mornings, and we also have volunteers who are there in the afternoons until 4 o'clock. So it needs to be before 4 o'clock so that you can stop by and see the progress and be part of it. And we've had a lot of people ask us, what's kind of holding up the last bit of getting all of the equipment over there and getting the couple of editing machines over there moved from our old place at Sunbridge? Well, the main thing, I have to be candid with you, that's holding it up is financial. We just don't have enough funds to get all of that finished. And we've made great progress and we're super excited about it and we want you to come see. But I need to be honest with you and say, if we're going to do that last part that we need to, we really need to hear from you with some special financial gifts. And I wouldn't want to leave out the operating budget either, because our operating budget has been running on the very slim side, really ever since we purchased that building where we borrowed from ourselves, from our operating reserves, about half of the funds that we needed to purchase the property. Now, we don't owe anybody else anything for the property. We own it outright, but we have been gradually paying ourselves back into the operating from funds that have been coming in for the building facility. So you can see that that makes it a little bit more challenging for us day by day in our operations at Blue Mountain Broadcasting. And so I want you to remember our regular operating funds as well. So there's kind of two things that you could choose to contribute to and give toward. One is the operating budget, the regular day-to-day that it takes to keep this thing running and keep great programming coming to you on the air and to make new programs like this one and others. Daily Bread, Valley Viewpoint, those shows that we produce locally. If you want to help with that, your regular gift to us month by month is so important. You might be able to do $10 a month. You might be able to do $50 a month. Maybe you're able to do $100 or even more per month. Those kinds of regular gifts at any amount are what really help our organization to be secure and to have what we need to operate on that daily basis at the ministry. And then the second area is to give something specifically for moving the rest of our equipment over to the Wallula facility. So you might want to give a special gift marked either Move to Wallula or the building project or something like that, as you are giving a special gift that would be for that purpose. So just needed to let you know about those fairly urgent needs that we really have so that we can be candid with you and let you know So many people ask me, when will it all be completed? Well, the answer is kind of up to all of us as we give and as we contribute. Then I want to highlight for you a show that is fairly new on Blue Mountain Television and that we're really excited about, and that is Thunder in the Holy Land. Now, Thunder in the Holy Land just has great visuals. Shot in the Middle East. It's a really well-produced program, very interesting. I know that those of you who've already seen it enjoy it, and if you haven't, you need to tune in for it. But besides that, we're really excited because it features one of our local pastors, James Ash. And so you're familiar with him from our Daily Bread show. So we're just excited to have this program that James Ash is hosting and have it available on Blue Mountain Television. Here's the times. Jot these down so you know when to watch it. Sundays at 9 p.m., Tuesdays at 5 p.m., Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m., Fridays at 5:30 p.m., and Saturdays at 7:30 a.m. So one more time down through: Sunday at 9, Tuesday at 5, Wednesday at 7:30 a.m., Friday at 5:30, and Saturday at 7:30 a.m. So one of those has got to work for you, right? So that you can tune in and see Thunder in the Holy Land, a really exciting program on the station. Well, I want to thank you because you took some time to watch this show today, to find out more about our community, to find out more about Blue Mountain Television and the ministry that we're doing here. And I want to again ask you to pray for this ministry. Keep it right at the top of your prayer list. And also, thank you so much for those of you who have given and often given sacrificially so that we can have the ministry of Blue Mountain Television. Grateful for that. Once again, thanks for tuning in today. I will see you next time.